Everything.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. See? This is why we test our stream. That's right. Bruce is like, why are we not hearing them? So this is why we put the stream up early, about a minute early, just so we can make sure that the mics are working, the camera's working.
30.
And the one thing we do want to tell you, Bruce, I'm hearing myself in my ear. Is that supposed to happen?
No. But I can fix it.
Anyway.
That's why we do this.
Oh, wait, yes, I know.
Work out the bugs.
So yeah, we're working out the bugs. So we're going to be live in like 15 seconds. The one thing you can do for us is share our live video. So if you can go click share right now, that is the best thing you can do for us.
No pressure, but you've got 10 seconds to do it.
Do it now.
Now. Push the button.
All right, we're going live now.
At a time.
Now we're going.
On today's episode of What Your Friends Won't Tell You, raising a child with special needs, the joys, the struggles, and the huge financial impact. The resource many families call a game changer. Plus the hair product Shannon swears by and is calling the best thing ever. Episode 59 of What Your Friends Won't Tell You starts right now. This episode is brought to you by Banyan Global Investment Advisors in Boca Raton. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Suzanne Boyd.
And I'm Shannon Thompson-Jones, and this is What Your Friends Won't Tell You.
Yeah, and today we're talking about a topic that we have actually wanted to do for a while.
Yes.
And today's sponsor, Banyan Global Investment Advisors, said, we will sponsor another show if you do this topic.
Yes.
And it is families with special needs children, raising a child with special needs.
Right.
And the reason that Banyan Global was so passionate about this and why we are dedicating today's show to 9-year-old Luke Fernicola is because Luke's mother, Lori, works for Banyan Global Investment Advisors. She's a certified financial planner with them.
Right.
And so little Luke was diagnosed with autism when he was 4 years old, and unfortunately he started to regress. And so by the age of 9, he could not swallow. He was having major problems. They did a lot of tests and came to find out that he had some very rare chromosomal disorder, and little Luke passed away in July. Okay. The crying is starting early, apparently, today.
Yeah,
so I didn't even know Luke, but I've met his mother. I did a lot of research and talked with Lori about this episode. So I just want everyone to know that we are very sensitive to this topic.
Yes.
I don't have a personal experience with it other
Right.
than friends who
Correct.
have children with autism,
Right.
but I don't have a personal experience. So I want to be
right.
very candid about that.
Yeah, that we're still learning.
Yeah.
We've wanted to do this topic for so long, but it's so important, and it's so important to do it well and provide educated information. And we both really got that we don't know what we know what we don't know.
Right.
And so we've taken a lot of time and postponed, and now it's time to do it. So just please know where we're coming from on this is a place of so much empathy and compassion and love for families that are special needs families. You'll hear me probably say amazing 16 times today because I just am in awe of these parents and the way that they love and what they endure and the emotional capacity that they have to have a child.
Patience.
Oh, the patience, the emotions, the support, the energy, the finances, all of it. It can be so overwhelming. So we are just hoping to contribute just a smidge to families that have special needs children. But also I feel very passionate about what I've learned about special needs from having special needs families in my life is how oblivious we are as individuals who don't have special needs children, and to be mindful. So I'm really passionate today about helping you, the everyday person who has a child who's 9 years old playing soccer and not having any trouble and who's griping about how difficult they were to get in the shower today, that if we could sensitize you to how painful that sentence might be for someone who spent 4 hours trying to get their child showered that day.
You know, the interesting thing that Lori said to me, and this never even really occurred to me, but she had said, you know, the hardest part, first of all, the hardest part is just getting out of the house when you have a child with special needs, because you know, your house is kind of like your safe place. And when you leave that safe place, you know, it can be scary, you know. And if you have if you have other children, you know, typical children, not children with special needs, then sometimes you have to break the family up in order to have activities. Because, you know, when you have one parent going with a special needs child to do those activities that he or she needs to do, and then you have the other parent that has to take the other sibling or other siblings. So, you know, I didn't even think about something like that. But the other thing she said to me that really opened my eyes was that that people, and you know, we say this a lot, that they act so differently around children with special needs. And she's like, I wish people would ask me. I wish people would have a conversation with me instead of just staring at him in the grocery store, or if your child comes up and says, hey, why can't that kid talk, and you're ushering your child away, instead ask, you know, the mom, or ask, why can't that child talk? And so I think, you know, it's just about being open and curious and in a respectful way. But she says she wishes people would have asked her more about Luke.
That makes so much sense to me, Suzanne, because what we preach all the time is genuine and authentic. So how wonderful would it be if I'm in the grocery store with my special needs child and a little person who's harmless says, why is he like that? And I can say, oh, well, he has Down syndrome, and this is what's going on with him. And then that boy now doesn't feel afraid, and he comes over and he says, oh, you have Down syndrome? Well, I have a truck. And they're and now, you know, they're interacting in some way, and there's connection, and now I'm interacting with the parent, rather than to be kind of treated like, oh, don't go over there. You must feel so stigmatized or ostracized or alone. So I think that would be wonderful, that genuine, authentic, you know, conversation where everybody learns and everybody feels connected.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting that Lori told me was, you know, just the plethora of resources and benefits that are available to these parents. And the thing that surprised me that she said that Florida actually has a very good the school system is very good when it comes to children with special needs.
Even
believe it or not, the public
they
system.
have things
She
built
says
in.
the problem is just a lot of parents don't know how to navigate it.
So,
you know, that was really her thing, was educating parents about the, you know, the emotional support that's out there, the financial support that's out there, because there are some things that that are real game changers. She said that she didn't even know about until, you know, Luke was much older. So I think that it's just also, we want to share those kind of resources as well that are so important for helping you. And listen, the financial aspect, you know, from what Lori was telling me, can be devastating to a family.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it can bankrupt you with all of these treatments, you know.
Especially if you don't know how to maneuver those deals and, you know, insurances and all the free service. The state of Florida offers a lot, like you're saying. There's a lot of, you know, once you qualify, that these are free services. I know a lot of families that have OT, PT, behavioral therapy, all coming to the home through the state. Like that's available, but people don't even know how to get there. And
I think, you know, the other thing is, you know, I think when you first have a child and you realize they have, whether it's autism or Down syndrome or whatever special needs that you're dealing with, there's sort of this shock, I think, in the beginning. But then, you know, the one thing that Lori said that she, now that she has lost her son, is that what a blessing he was, you know, and she never, he made her a kinder person. He made her a more patient person, because she says, you know, I was a very different, and these are pictures of Luke, little Luke. And she, you know, she says, I think most special needs parents or parents of children with special needs will tell you is that in the beginning, they did not feel that, but now they feel that their child is a blessing.
Absolutely. I was going to speak to this, so thank you, as always, for reminding me that when you find out that your child has a difficulty, the first thing that happens is an immediate grieving process. Right. And what we see is that that grieving process can last the entire length of that child's life, in the sense that it's always something else that you're having to grieve. Like when they're 15 or 16, people are talking about applying to college, and you're hearing everybody talk about that. There's another ooh to the stomach. Yeah. Wow, my child won't be applying to college, although FAU now has a special needs college, which is amazing. Right. So that's exciting that there are these things that are, happening. Yeah. But, those kinds of things. So it's a constant grieving process. However, I too have heard from everyone that it is the greatest gift that you'll ever receive. And, just what they learn from that child and what that child experiences like in their life. And they wouldn't change it, but it is also simultaneously a grief process every day of what they had hoped for, dreamed of when they were pregnant, that will maybe never come to fruition. Yeah. So.
And the other thing is, I know some people who have disabilities. Like, for instance, I used to work with, we all used to work, Bruce and Stephanie and Jean used to work with Mike Caruso, who, and you know Mike Caruso. I love him. And Mike Caruso has some form of muscular dystrophy, and he's basically been wheelchair bound his whole life. But he is one of these people that never let his disability get in the way of his dreams. He always wanted to be a sports reporter, and he started at CBS 12 doing sports reporting. So he was on camera, then he became a sports producer, then he was an editor for many years, a very talented and extremely good editor. And he's just this person that no matter what happened to him, and he would have to go into the hospital, he would get pneumonia, and it's different than for someone who's able-bodied, because his immune system gets so compromised by it. And he would come back and just, it would take him out, but he would come back and just have the best attitude.
He's a bright light.
He is a bright light.
That's what I remember when I met him. He's just a bright light. He's happy, he's cheerful, he's optimistic.
And I think it was his parents. He talks a lot about his parents and how they always told him that no matter what, he could do whatever he wanted in life. And he went on to prove that that's the case.
Yeah. So that's a really nice piece to this that you're adding, which is there is hope. And I see that with some of the families that I'm connected to, is that things turned out better than they had expected. So to try to keep that hope piece and to try to push it, to the best of their ability, and encouraging their children to be the best that they can be.
All right, so we are going to open up Shannon's toolbox coming up next. If you are a family raising a child with special needs, some of the tools that Shannon has to getting through that, not just emotionally and physically, but also financially. And then we have some really, really amazing resources. Lori has done all of the legwork on this. Lori Fornicola from Banyan Global Investment Advisors. She's done she has pages of resources that can help families. So we're gonna talk about that and Shannon's toolbox coming up on What's Won't Do. We'll be right back. Imagine a place where you can heal your body, relax your mind, and get better sleep just by sitting in a comfortable, calming atmosphere.
Welcome to the Salt Suite in Palm Beach Gardens.
The Salt Suite halotherapy rooms are carved from 24,000 pounds of salt imported from the Dead Sea. Minerals in the salt are known to detoxify and heal, helping people with chronic and skin conditions, including children suffering from eczema and allergies.
Clients at the Salt Suite are finding that they sleep better, allergies, and their asthma as much as they are normally, and they're staying off drugs.
Totally clean by.
Jamie Gonzalez opened the PGA Boulevard location in 2015 after being diagnosed with MS. She wanted to create a place where the community could come to find answers and heal.
The best part about opening the Salt Suite for me has been such a community that we've built. It's amazing to see people become friends with each other and share, different remedies, and really just support, moral support, especially with the moms, because their kids, It's agonizing to watch your child not be able to breathe. Kids play in the salt, they have a great time, and they find that then they can start limiting and using less medication.
Come experience the healing environment of the Salt Suite in the shops at PGA West today. 561-316-3105. Welcome back to What Your Friends Won't Tell You, and today's episode is brought to you by Banyan Global Investment Advisors, and they are out of Boca Raton, and they actually wanted us to do this episode on special needs because one of their certified financial planners, Lori Fernicola, lost her special needs son in July. And so they really wanted us to do this because they have so many resources. Lori's done so much work on this, and we are dedicating today's episode to 9-year-old Luke Fernicola, who passed away in July. All right, so let's open up Shannon's toolbox because, you know, I think some of the coping skills that you need to deal with when when in the beginning, as you said, it's a grief process.
Right.
But once you get through that, what are some of your tools that you?
So I went back and talked. Have special needs children and said, you know, what was helpful, and it was super exciting to hear some of the things that they said were game changers for them. So the first one was living in the moment. Living in the moment, what I mean by that is when you get met with this, oh my gosh, my child is going to be struggling possibly for the rest of their life, the first thing our brain does, right, is races ahead. What am I going to do for school? What am I going to do for kindergarten? What am I going to do? How am I going to travel? How am I going to ever, how am I going to afford this? And your head just starts to spin. And one of the things, this is a tool I use for everybody, but it's critical with a special needs family, is that you will never know the resource that will become available in the that need it to be available. You know that resource when you're here. I have had so many amazing resources come to fruition during this time that my kids are headed to college. That back 10 years ago, I used to just lay in bed and sweat and think, I can't,
how is this going to work?
Right. I'm a single mom, like I can't,
Right.
So thank God that those resources have shown up right in time. So letting people know, you know what, just stay in today with your child and looking for those resources that are available for where they're at today, and know and be confident that as you learn and as people find out and as you have all these wonderful people in your life, that new resources are going to show up along the way that you could have never imagined, that will relieve the worry, relieve the anxiety, and be super helpful. Even financial resources that show up, like you were talking about earlier. So that's stay in today. Now, with that said, we're being sponsored by a financial group. That might be the one thing I would say is to make that phone call so that you can start saving every day and doing some plans for the future for your child financially. But that would be the only area I would say to kind of be, doing a little bit all the time.
And Lori said she really is a planner.
Yes.
As a certified financial planner, that makes sense.
Yes.
But, she said her number one thing for parents in this situation is to start a special needs trust.
Yes.
And that is the number one thing she said she would tell parents.
Right, to do now for the course of their life.
Right.
And then everything else, stay in today. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't, give yourself a panic attack because you can't imagine what will show up when you need it.
And I love this second one, your second tool, because Lori said this was the one thing that she did not do enough of.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about self-care.
No, ask for help.
Oh, really? I thought that was last one. Okay, so that's interesting that she said that. So asking for help is the second tool, and this is, I'm going to expand on this because it seems so simple, like duh, ask for help. But here's the thing that you run into if you're a special needs family. We've done a lot of shows, and we talk about this a lot. Ask for your needs, ask for help, all that fun stuff. When you are a special needs family, you have to understand other people do not have a clue what you're going through. They have no idea. When I'm griping that my daughter took 2 hours to get into bed last night, that is nothing compared to what somebody goes through with a child that has autism, where they literally might be obsessing about something or saying the same sentence over and over and over again and doing the same repetitive behavior that could be dangerous for them, and you're trying to dissuade them from that for 6 hours straight. How would I ever know about that? How would I ever? So if you're my best friend who has a special needs child and you are so exhausted because you spent 6 hours trying to reroute your child, and I have no idea of that, so I call you and I'm griping about my day or whatever, you're going to want to kill me by the end of that conversation.
Right.
So please, 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 if you're a special needs parent, inform and educate. Be vulnerable with your trusted people. Share with them. Let me tell you what the last 6 hours of my day look like. Tell them the details. Be open. Let them see that you're grieving and that you're in pain and that you've been worried all day about this situation. That way they can actually give you some help, because you don't even know what to ask for and they don't even know what you need. And so that's what happens is people go years without any help, and they tell somebody, yeah, my parents don't help me. And the other person goes, how horrible are your parents? But guess what? The parents have no idea how to help. They have no idea. So you've got to share what you need. You've got to share your story. You've got to be vulnerable with what you're going through whenever you have time. I know it's overwhelming, but when you do have those people that are wanting to listen, please share, and then we can figure out how they can help.
Yeah. And the last one is a tool that actually Lori had suggested, because
That's why I got confused.
this was because this one she said she didn't do enough of too, which was take care of herself.
Self-care, yes. So the third tool is, and I like how Lori said it. She said special needs parents need to know it's okay to take care of yourself, because you're so overwhelmed, you're so exhausted, and you just feel like everything is about this child. But it's very much like we talk about the plane. If the plane loses sudden cabin pressure, put the mask on yourself first. And then small children, because if you don't, you will have nothing to give. And the last thing you need to do is become sick or autoimmune deficient while you're trying to take care of a child. So do the basics. It sounds silly to say this, but you know, the 8 glasses of water a day, sleeping 8 hours if you can a night, or getting as much sleep as possible.
You were going to say the 8 glasses of wine. But that's like
Suzanne Boyd.
She wouldn't say that.
She has a different special need program.
That's right.
And that's a whole nother segment. We're going to do that another time.
Wine.
It's actually not 8 yes, it's 8 glasses of water you need a day. We're going to debate on this later, how many glasses you need a day of wine. So 8 glasses of water a day, 8 hours of sleep a night. Taking a shower every day, preferably earlier in the day, so
Lori
you can
said
feel
you
don't
go
even
days
shower.
without showering.
Yes.
She's like, she just would forget.
Yes, you forget yourself. You forget to take care of yourself.
Right.
But you know, the universe has an amazing way of reminding you, and that's usually with
Body
exhaustion, body odor, exhaustion, illness.
Oh, yeah.
This one's big for me. Like, if you don't want to take, there's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it talks about trauma and basically that whole self-care concept that you don't have to take care of yourself, but your body will wake you up because you'll have issues. So take care of yourself, and to know it's okay. You don't need to feel guilty.
Yes.
Because I want you to flip the script that it's not that you're selfish, it's self-care and self-preservation. And if you don't preserve yourself, you will have nothing to give.
Yeah.
So you
and
have
taking
to.
time for yourself, like by yourself, you know, time away from your child.
Which is that's one of the biggest complaints of special needs family, because you can't just call your friend down the street and say, hey, can you handle my kid for 2 hours? Because the list is pretty long of what what you need to know.
Right.
So definitely, but that's where our next discussion of resources comes in, because finding those people that can work with special needs children and the respite and that kind of thing is really important.
All right, so let's get into those resources, because I think these are going to be game changers for a lot of people. And the first one, you had a friend who suggested this to you, and Lori said, if I had one resource to give, this would be it.
And this is CARD, the Center for Autism-Related Disorders.
And I guess it's at FAU.
Well, that's the local, but if you Google it, they're all over
over
the country, which is really wonderful. And they're providing resources and connecting people, and also behavioral therapy, and big focus on the applied behavioral therapy and analysis.
Yeah, she said that should be your first phone call if you're in the trenches, is to CARD, Centers for
Autism-Related Disorders. starters.
The second one, she said, is a game changer. So it's called the Med Waiver, and I'm sure a lot of, if you have a child with special needs, you've probably heard of it. What happens though, Lori says, is a lot of parents, they either don't have a diagnosis yet, or they think, oh, I won't need that. The issue with the Med Waiver is there is like a 7+ year waiting list. And so she said, even if you don't know if you're going to need it, or if you don't have a diagnosis yet, she said, go ahead and apply for the Med Waiver.
Right.
Because it's a 7+ year wait list.
Right.
And so you've got to wait, you're probably going to be waiting 7 years anyway.
Right.
So go ahead and get on the waiting list and go ahead and apply.
Right.
Because that, when you have a Med Waiver, apparently it's like having a golden
card. Ticket, to every.
She says it is actually a gold card.
Right.
And she said it pays for
Everything.
almost everything. I mean, things that you
wow.
wouldn't even imagine that
Right.
it pays for. It pays for
That's
all these
wonderful.
treatments and everything. So she said that is a game changer. The Med Waiver, you definitely want to get on the list for that.
And I think people think, well, I don't want to use resources, but listen, if it's 7 years, you can always say no when they contact you
Right.
and say pass to
Yeah.
the next person, but you can't get on that list at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
The other thing is Lori, when I went and talked to her, gave me an entire list of resources. And I said, you know what? Let's put that on the Banyan Global Investment Advisors website. And so this is what she came up with. And it's basically taking you through all different ages
Wow.
of your child and what you need at that point. And so this is such a great resource, and it was put together by Lori Fornicola, and it is at bgiadvisors.com/WYFWTY. And don't worry if you didn't get a chance to write that down. I will put that in the post once we go off the air here. But I will make sure that you have that resource. But it's bgiadvisors.com/WYFWTY, which is the acronym for What Your Friends Won't Tell You, by the way.
And also I want to mention, because I'm not sure if it's on that list or not, but the ARC is local, and they do so much to connect people to resources. I know they do a summer camp for children with special needs, which is amazing, and even I think a spring break camp, and again, giving some of that respite and break for the families, you know. So they're a wonderful organization, the ARC.
All right, and once again, today's episode is brought to you by Banyan Global Investment Advisors, and we have dedicated today's show to Luke Fornicola, who is Lori's 9-year-old son who passed away in July. So thank you, Lori, for all of those great resources and for letting us tell your story. Because I think that's, you know, she's at that point where she still cries every time she talks about, of course, her son. And so I know it was very painful for her to do that and probably to listen to this show, but we really appreciate you sharing your story because I believe it is going to help other parents.
And I had the pleasure of sitting with Lori at our luncheon that I was invited to, and just what a lovely human. I mean, it's great that she has this experience to share, and she has all this brilliance, but just a kind human and just so approachable and just
that's Lori with her son.
Yeah, she's just a really down-to-earth, wonderful human. So I really advise and urge you to connect with all the things that she can, you know, contribute.
Yeah. All right, we are going to come back here on What Your Friends Won't Tell You, and coming up is the best thing ever. And Shannon came up with this one today.
We're talking about
for her curly hair.
We're talking about hydrating, y'all.
That's right.
Going to get real with hydration.
That's right. We're going to lighten it up a little bit with the best thing ever. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Ocean West Property Management was born out of a love for people.
Hi, Barb. How are ya?
The owner, Diane Evans, has spent her entire life in the hospitality business in southern Palm Beach County. Her parents owned the Delray Arms Hotel, where Crane's Beach House now sits in downtown Delray.
My parents purchased a hotel here in Delray back in 1983. It's the year I graduated high school, and I just kind of followed them, and I was with them the whole 20 years that they ran the hotel.
Diane specializes in helping South Florida condo owners make money on their property by turning their vacant homes into vacation rentals.
If a owner is looking to rent their property out and they want to get the most for their money, I can do that. You know, it's no problems. We make sure everything's done from start to finish. We take care of everything. You just get a check in the mail once a month.
Ocean West Property Management handles every aspect, from marketing your listing to handling the payment and making sure your guests are comfortable and have everything they need.
These single-family homes and the condo units, they rent out very well.
Many of our guests return year after year because customer service is Diane's #1 priority. Ocean West Property Management handles all of your property needs, from managing luxury properties, condos, and beach rentals to home checks. There is no service too big or too small. Call Diane at Ocean West Property Management and start making income off of your home today. 561-632-6521. Shannon and I started What Your Friends Won't Tell You because we wanted a way to put out good content in a raw and authentic format. We don't script our shows, and we are pretty honest about what's going on in our lives and the mistakes that we've made in the past. You know, we want these shows to bring you joy and the feeling that you're not alone and that you can handle life's challenges with grace and a little bit of humor. But we also want this show to succeed. So if you own a local business and would like us to bring What Your Friends Won't Tell You and all the social media exposure that comes with it to your business, or if you want to support us through advertising, contact me, Suzanne, at WYFWTY.com. That's the acronym for What Your Friends Won't Tell You. That's Suzanne at WYFWTY.com. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Today's episode is brought to you by Banyan Global Investment Advisors in Boca Raton, and our close brought to you by Coco and Company, which owns Periwinkle, which owns Morley, all on Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach. But we decided to go to one of the different shops, to Coco and Company.
Mixing it up
they
a
are
little
so
bit.
competitive. One of the other girls from one of the other shops was in there when I was picking up our shirts.
How
She's like,
funny.
"Why are you not coming to Morley?"
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, they're
So
gorgeous.
they're very competitive. So thank you.
I feel
I
very
know.
like bougie when I wear these.
I know. This is
Very
washable
special.
silk.
That's
believe it or
amazing.
not. Yeah.
That is amazing.
So thank you, Carrie Delafield, who's the owner of those 3 shops, and thank you, Coco and Company.
And before we get too far out, I want to give a shout out for 211. That is an amazing resource that we have here locally that just connects everybody to everything that they need. They have a hotline. I believe it's 24/7. You know, you can call there when you're depressed. You can call there when you're suicidal, when you have a situation with drugs in your family. They are the connector for everything. And Candy Spitz is amazing, and she works with them, and I believe she's the head of marketing and advertising and all that. But either way, she has 2 children, twins, that are autistic, and so she's an amazing human. So I just want to, you know, the resources that are available are abundant.
There are a lot
call
of resources.
211. Yes, they will help you with that.
All right, now let's get to the best thing ever. And Shannon had this. Now, your last one about your curly hair, which was that device you used.
I increased sales.
You did increase
significantly, and I have not gotten a check. I just want people to know
that was a few episodes ago where she did this thing that blow dries and straightens your hair
every
at
friend
the
I
same
have
time.
has called me like, I got it, and it's amazing, and it takes 5 minutes, and I'm like, where's my royalty check? Like, I don't understand this.
You need some kickbacks, for that, right? All right, so today you're talking about some shampoo that you love for curly hair.
So I stumbled on this. I'm a little bit of an Ulta girl. I like to just go in there, and Sephora. I don't discriminate. You know what I mean? I figured out probably
fill up your basket pretty quickly.
I do. Well, you know, I figured this out. I mean, it was actually a profound little side note story. Like 5 years ago, I was just so overwhelmed and stressed out, and my husband and I don't shop very often. I really don't. So we ended up in the mall, and I ended up in Sephora. And after like 45 minutes, I literally felt famous. They're just so lovely, you know. They were pampering me, and oh, let me get you this, and did you try this? And this is so hydrating. And by the time I left there, I was like, this is the answer.
$500 later.
I didn't spend that much.
Okay.
But it was the experience. Those women in there are so adoring and kind. I mean, I have like a close friendship with one of the women in that store just from going in there. Right. And they just made me feel so good. And it's all again about self-care. Yeah. So ever since then, I allow myself to go. Every couple weeks, I'll go wander through Sephora and buy a lip gloss or wander through Ulta. So on one of my wanderings, I have a birthday buddy in there that works there. We're birthday twins. And so she helped me to find this shampoo. And I don't pay a lot of attention to shampoo, except I have naturally curly hair. So it has to have a lot of conditioner, because if you have naturally curly hair, you know, it's like hay. Sometimes it gets dry, right, and brittle. This product, I have tried to leave it. You cannot. It's called WYFWTY.
WYFWTY.
OUIDAD.
Okay.
I use the purple one, and it says all over the bottle, it talks about hydrating, and you don't really think about, like, what does that mean? I'll tell you what that means, my furry friend. What that means is each strand of hair absorbs so much moisture that it feels like each strand is like thicker.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, WYFWTY is not paying her either.
but you can. I'll give my address. You can mail me product. But it is so hydrating that when I stop using it, my hair gets brassy and dry, and I can't. I mean, I flat iron almost every day.
Right.
Feel the silk.
Oh my gosh, it's true. It's true.
Hydrated. I am
yeah,
hydrated.
Shannon.
I'm hydrated. That's what hydrated feels like.
Okay, so WYFWTY.
Yes.
It's shampoo, conditioner,
It's shampoo
because
and
they have a
conditioner.
whole line
They
of
have
products.
a whole line. I've used basically the shampoo and the conditioner and maybe one other product, but you just can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, and they also have a salon in Fort Lauderdale. When we Googled them, they have a salon in Fort Lauderdale.
Very nice. I have no business going there.
All right, so we always want to leave you with a mantra that kind of speaks to our topic. And today, obviously, we've been talking about raising a child with special needs and coping with that. So what is our mantra today?
I am not alone. That's what we want you to take from today, is that we're going to continue to build resources out in the world with educating people. This is like passionate to me, it's passionate to you. We're going to continue sharing. You guys, hopefully, that are special needs families, will continue sharing and using that tool that I talked about, helping people create empathy so people understand what you're going through. But you are not alone. I mean, between the two of us, we've come to know so many families that have special needs kids. So find your tribe, find those groups, find those resources, find those get-togethers where people can support each other, because you're not alone, but you may feel like it sometimes.
Yeah, Lori was saying that was a big thing with her, that she always felt so alone, and you know, just she wanted to remind people that you are not alone,
right?
You know, and there are all kinds of other people that are going through what you're going through.
And maybe that's what you need to ask for help with, because if you have a special needs child at home, you are overwhelmed all the time. Maybe that's what you can ask your parents or your family. Can you find where this meetup group is? Or can you find this online support group so that I can just go to it?
Yeah.
Because I don't have time to do the research.
Yeah. All right, and don't forget, we are sending out a weekly newsletter now through What Your Friends Won't Tell You. So go to our website, WYFWTY.com, and sign up for our mailing list to get our newsletter. You can get all kinds of information. We now do a horoscope.
It is right on. Oh my goodness.
We have the What Your Friends Won't Tell You horoscope.
She's
Thank
amazing.
you, Maureen Sestero.
You are on target every time.
That's right.
I love it.
That's right. So go, and you can check that on our website as well, WYFWTY.com. But we also send that out through our newsletter. And we just give you a lot of great information. And you can find out about our live shows. If you want to come to one of our live shows and be in our live studio audience, all that information comes through our newsletter, so make sure you sign up for that. Don't forget to share our videos, like our videos, engage with our videos. That can be the best gift that you give to us.
And subscribe on YouTube.
Yes, we're coming in hot on YouTube
We
now.
are.
Shannon and I were just invited this week on a YouTube show
From Montreal, Canada.
Yep. And they literally kept us on this show for an hour and a half.
It was wonderful.
It was
Suzanne fell asleep, but I really enjoyed it.
It was 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, okay, I am going to bed. I'm sorry.
She's like, good night, turn off the camera. Lights out.
Yeah, that's the thing about YouTube, is like you can just go live forever if you want. But
they were wonderful.
They were.
We so enjoyed it, and it has, created a little heat for the YouTube subscribers, right? So keep it coming.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm going to put that video up to Brendan, our IT guy, is putting that together now. And we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and
podcasts. So when you're in your car driving,
you can
you
listen
can run,
to
but
us.
you can't hide.
Yeah. All right. Once again, I just want to give a huge shout out to Lori Fernicola, Banyan Global Investment Advisors.
Yes.
And thank you, Lori, for letting us share Luke's story. This episode was dedicated to Luke Fernicola, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4 and died in July from a very rare chromosomal disorder. But it has, Lori has turned her grief into action. And she has really, this is what she wants to do, is help other families going through these crises, whether it's financial or emotional or whatever. And so she has a ton of resources at her fingertips. And she has put that up on their website, bgiadvisors.com/WYFWTY. Thank you, Lori. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Danny at Banyan Global Investment Advisors. And thank you for watching What Your Friends Won't Tell You. We're going to end the show here, but we're going to come back on the live stream and answer some of the questions that you've had on our Facebook Live. So thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Thanks. Okay, hi guys.
Hi guys.
This is our. Okay, come. Well, let's get
E.
Emiliano. I know, I'm like E. Let's just call me. Come on over in the shot. So I reached out to my friend Lori reached out. Lori Rex. She goes. I said I need a photographer, a professional photographer to come over and take some pictures. So. Emiliano is apparently the guy in Delray Beach.
She knows. Lori knows.
So he agreed to come. Like, this has all happened this morning because we need some new pictures for our
Don't worry,
web.
95% of my clients call me the day.
That's right. Can you do my wedding today?
Yeah,
It's for two.
So anyway, thank you for coming. We
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Emiliano, what's the name of your company?
Studio B Square.
Studio B Squared, yes. And he's going to be the new face of Delray Live, right?
Well, I'm going to be helping them out, so
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
that's
with that. It's
awesome.
gonna be
That's nice.
That's awesome. But
Yeah.
thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, and we did want to answer some of the questions that I think people...
It just popped up about a teenager. Oh, right here, Yvonne. My daughter is high functioning autistic teenager and have had such a struggle trying to find some free services in Palm Beach County, Wellington area. So definitely for you to go directly to the website that Lori has up, right? Because she has several different opportunities on that.
Yes. Yeah. So,
right.
oh, okay. So
Yeah,
now
that's
we're.
what we just did, yeah.
Oh, this is cool, Bruce.
Yes.
Yay!
Kind of fancy.
So, Bruce is popping up some of these comments that people said on our Facebook Live throughout the show. This is from Candy. She
Yes.
and who we had talked about from 211,
Candy Lynn,
who
who I
has
love.
2 children who have autism.
Autism,
And she says, "Live in the moment. Hands down, the best advice you could have given Shannon."
Which Candy knows all, so thank you.
Yeah, Haley, who's one of my sorority sisters from University of Florida,
Go
Delta
Gators!
Gamma. Haley says, "I love what you're raising awareness for," and she said that the financial stress is overwhelming.
Yes.
In fact, there was another comment I think as well from another single mom who said, that the financial part of it, that is the one component that is just so difficult because you want to get your child help.
Sure.
Especially with autism because there's so much. I think there's so much in the beginning.
Well,
that
what
they
she
say-
said, what Lori said, I loved so much. You put it in the article.
Yes.
If you've met one child with autism, you've met one child with autism because it's such a
so vast.
spectrum. It's
Yeah.
so many different things.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
I think that was the big thing, and I know that there's just so many options out there. Even some of the schools like Palm Beach School for Autism, I think, and the Ernie Els School up in Jupiter that Ernie Els opened as well. So there's so many options, but just the financial part of it. I know the Palm Beach School for Autism, I think, is a charter school, so I think that's public. But you're paying for these treatments and for people, even if they have like a companion that goes with them to class with them. 'cause
But
a
that
lot
is
of them
they
need
do. But they
these
have that through the
companions.
state.
So that's part of the med waiver. Yeah, that's all paid for.
That is provided
if you
for
get
by
this
the county.
med waiver.
Yep.
So if you haven't heard or researched or applied for med waiver and you have a child with special needs, I would say that's probably the number one thing you want to do. At least that's what Lori had said. That and starting a special needs trust. So you're kind of starting to chip away some of that money, because Lori had said, you know, that is one of your biggest fears of being a parent of a child with special needs, is that you're going to outlive them, and then what do they do? You know, and so you want to have sort of a plan for them going forward.
And to go back, I didn't want to cut short the woman that Yvonne with her teenage daughter. So please go to the website with Lori where she gives all the resources, and then again to call 211 if you're having difficulties finding resources. That's what they do, and it's a free resource, the hotline, and they can connect you to the proper people that can help you.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments, Bruce?
Let's see what we got.
This is Bruce Jaggers with Jaggers Technology Services. He is our. Here, you want me? I'll do the camera.
Oh, the roving camera.
The roving camera. But I gotta. Okay, can you pop that up? Suzanne, the photographer.
Yeah, here's Suzanne, the photographer.
Yeah,
Oops. There we go. That's a first. All right, there's Bruce with Jaggers Technology Services. This is his mobile control room that he brings to my house to make our episodes go live and pop up all the graphics and the videos. This is Gene from 1331 Creative. You're backlit. You're backlit, Gene. This is Gene, another one of our team members that is doing all of our video and commercial production work. We have Stephanie, who's the amazing, our amazing producer, and
is that a Kardashian?
That is a Kardashian. Yes, I bet you get mistaken for that all the time. We have Brendan Hirsch, who is IT, making sure that we're always up live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and he's showing us that we are. That's a good thing. And then our newest team member, E. Do you want to come back every episode?
Every episode.
Oh, we got another comment.
It's a great way to end the week.
Oh yeah, right? We have a party. We have a party at the Boyd House. All right, what's our next comment?
So the next comment was someone asking about being interested in how the dad must be feeling. So as a therapist, I would infer from that statement that we've been focused a lot on Lori, the mom, and that's a good point, obviously, that there is a dad involved here that's very involved and very effective. But we unfortunately haven't spoken to him or interviewed him or any of that. So all of our information has come from Lori. So that's why it's been a little biased.
I think Lori had said, I'm sure that, there's different feelings among everyone. There's a different feeling, Lori has another child, Jake, who is a 6-year-old, lost his brother and was also the sibling to a special needs child. So, there's that whole element too. But, Lori said the one thing she would give advice, because it is a strain on your relationship, she said, just make sure you're on the same page with your partner. Right. Because that is so important going forward, that you guys are on the same page as far as the treatments or what you're going to do or how you're going to handle this, or, how you're going to handle weekends if you have, able-bodied siblings or other children. How are you going to handle weekends, and who takes, it's all that kind of stuff. She said that was just navigating through that kind of stuff is difficult too.
And thank you for making that comment, because it does give me a minute to speak to those two components. So the first component being the spouse and the gender of the father versus the mother, that oftentimes the man in this situation obviously feels the same intense pain that the woman does, but it's a different experience culturally. For one, I think men often feel responsible, like, I failed somehow, I did something wrong, how did this happen? Almost like, is it my genetics? Did I cause this? Because men tend to be the man on the white horse. They tend to want to fix and solve. So you can imagine there's tremendous frustration among men with special needs children, because they want to fix it. They want to find the answer. Especially, I have so many families, and Lori's family is the exact same, where they don't even know the diagnosis for years. They don't even know why things are happening. They go to every doctor in the country, and they still don't have an answer.
And in Lori's case with Luke, I mean, he had an autism diagnosis, but then things went completely downhill from there.
And that
so
happens
that's all the
often.
time. Yeah.
And so for dads that want to fix it and make it better and be the man on the white horse, it can be extremely painful, and they can feel inadequate and like a failure. And so there's a lot of, they can be very hard on themselves. For the sibling experience, what I've seen, which is so interesting, again, I feel so blessed to be able to learn from others. The sibling experience oftentimes is if you are neurotypical, normal child, and your brother has Down syndrome or is autistic, do you know the pressure on you? You cannot bring one bad thing to the family. You cannot get arrested. You cannot get in trouble at school. You cannot get a bad grade because your role, this is what they perceive. I have to be perfect. My parents are so stressed out. Are you kidding me? They're exhausted. They're doing so much for my brother. I can't get a bad grade. I can't get called into the principal's office. I have never seen pressure like the pressure I've seen on a child. And I've worked with families that they've had more than one special need.
And all the attention is on the special needs child.
So that's the other, that's the other side of this.
A lot of care.
Right, so they can feel lost in the shuffle. And then the other side is, I have to be perfect. Which, of course, by the way, you won't and you can't, and that's too much pressure, and go ahead and make your mistakes and stumble and fumble. But that's the biggest thing I've worked with them on, is just giving them permission to be human, because they don't want to do anything that would cause pain.
And giving yourself permission to be human.
Right.
You know, I think so many parents, you know, listen, I'm a mom and I think I'm doing it all wrong, you know, so I can't even imagine, you know, what some of these parents feel like sometimes. So
they can never do enough.
Right. Just remember, you are doing enough. You are doing amazing.
You're doing the best you can.
You're doing the best you can, right? So I think that's another just reminder that don't second guess yourself. You know, I know when I was talking to Lori, she was like, well, but I don't know if I did this right or this right. And I'm like, Lori, like, don't. But you absolutely did your best. And you just have to keep remembering that, you know.
And the pictures were so sweet of Luke. He looked happy. He looked loved, you know. So you did your best.
Such a sweet child. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we really appreciate you commenting and asking us questions. And like I said, if you know, the best thing is to contact Lori at Banyan Global Investment Advisors, especially if you need any help with like the financial resources or that special needs trust, setting that up. And then once again on their website, bgiadvisors.com/WYFWTY. And that will take you to all those resources that Lori has laid out very carefully. And if you have any other comments or questions, just leave them here and we'll try to get back to you.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, thanks,
Have a wonderful
Shannon.
day.
Bye,
Thank
have a great
you.
day, everyone. Happy Friday.
Yay!